Have you ever wondered what happens when a city has sin becomes so great that heaven itself must intervene? Today, we journey back in time to the lush valley of the Jordan, to two cities whose names have echoed through history as symbols of both divine judgment and profound mercy, Sodom and Gomorrah. Long ago, these cities flourished. Their lands were fertile, their buildings were grand, and life seemed to be a constant stream of pleasure. But beneath this dazzling surface, a deep darkness had taken root. Sin had spread like an unchecked fire, consuming the hearts of the people until they no longer remembered or revered God. Yet, here lies a timeless truth: even when humanity forgets heaven, heaven never, ever forgets humanity. Our story shifts to a quiet afternoon at the Oaks of Mamre, where Abraham, the patriarch, sat at the entrance of his tent. The desert air was still, but a change was coming. As the wind gently stirred the sand, three men appeared before him. They were strangers, yet they radiated a presence that was unmistakably divine. Without a moment's hesitation, Abraham hurried to welcome them, offering the humble hospitality of water, bread, and a place to rest. He treated them as honored guests, not knowing he was in the presence of angels and the Lord himself. As they ate, the atmosphere grew solemn. One of the visitors, the Lord, spoke with divine gravity. "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and their sin is very grievous. I will go down now and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me." Abraham's heart sank. His own nephew, Lot, lived in Sodom with his family. The thought of their fate was unbearable. So, in an act of incredible courage and compassion, Abraham drew near to God. He began to plead, to intercede for the city. "Will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked?" he asked. "What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you not spare it for their sake?" The negotiation of mercy began. The Lord agreed. But Abraham, persistent in his love for his nephew, continued. "What if there are only 45, or 40, or 30, or 20? Each time, God's patience and mercy met Abraham's plea. Finally, Abraham reached his last, most desperate number. "What if only 10 can be found?" he asked, his voice filled with hope and fear. And the Lord replied, "For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it." A powerful promise hung in the air. The fate of 2 entire cities rested on finding just 10 righteous souls. But as history would reveal, even 10 could not be found. As evening descended, 2 of the heavenly visitors, now in the form of angels, arrived at the gates of Sodom. Lot, sitting at the city gate, immediately recognized their otherworldly nature and hurried to greet them. Knowing the wickedness of the city, he insisted they stay in his home for safety, rather than spend the night in the open square. But before they could even settle in for the night, the depravity of Sodom revealed itself in its ugliest form. The men of the city, from the youngest to the oldest, surrounded Lot's house. Their shouts were vile, their demands wicked, a terrifying display of how far they had fallen. The situation escalated quickly, and the angels had to act. They pulled Lot back inside the safety of his home and struck the men outside with blindness, creating chaos and confusion. Inside, the warning was delivered with chilling urgency. "Do you have anyone else here?" the angels declared. "Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, or anyone else in the city. Get them out of this place, for we are about to destroy it. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it." Lot rushed to warn his son-in-law, who were engaged to his daughters. He pleaded with them, "Hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city." But they laughed. They thought he was joking. They couldn't see the danger. Their hearts were too attached to the sinful comforts of Sodom. As dawn broke, the angel's tone became firm. The time for deliberation was over. "Flee for your lives," they commanded Lot and his family. "Don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot hesitated. He was torn between obedience and his attachment to the life he knew. It's a moment we can all understand, the fear of leaving everything behind, even when we know it's for our own good. Seeing his hesitation, the angels took his hand and the hands of his wife and 2 daughters. The scripture says it was because the Lord was merciful to him. It was the hand of God's mercy, physically holding on, pulling them out of the city just before judgment fell. They were led to safety, a living testament to God's desire to save. As the morning sun climbed into the sky, a sound like a terrible roar filled the air. The heavens opened, not with rain, but with fire. The sky turned a terrifying crimson as fire and sulfur rained down from the Lord upon Sodom and Gomorrah. The cities were completely engulfed in divine judgment. Their pride, their corruption, their rebellion, all of it was consumed in an inferno of holy flame. The beautiful valley became a wasteland of smoke and ash. Lot and his 2 daughters fled toward the hills, obeying the angel's command. They ran, not daring to look back at the horror unfolding behind them. But Lot's wife, she couldn't resist. She turned to look back. Was it a longing for her home? A nostalgia for the life she was leaving behind? Or was it a final act of disobedience, a heart still tied to a condemned world? Whatever the reason, her backward glance became her downfall. In an instant, she became a pillar of salt, a haunting, frozen monument, caught forever between the promise of mercy and the consequence of disobedience. From a safe distance, on a hilltop overlooking the plain, Abraham stood and watched. He saw thick, black smoke rising from the land like the smoke from a massive furnace. We can only imagine the weight on his heart. And yet, in that moment of devastating sorrow, he witnessed the perfect intertwining of God's justice and his mercy. The cities were judged, but Lot had been saved. Why? The Bible tells us that God remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the catastrophe. Abraham's prayer, his righteous intercession, had made all the difference. Even in the midst of judgment, God's mercy reached out to rescue one man and his family. So what is the ultimate message of Sodom and Gomorrah? It's easy to focus only on the fire and destruction, but that's only half the story. This account is a powerful reminder that God is holy, and sin will not be ignored forever. But it's also a story about his incredible patience, his profound mercy, and his willingness to listen to the prayers of the faithful. He gives chances. He sends warnings. He negotiates with people like Abraham who stand in the gap. He physically pulls people like Lot out of danger. But there comes a point where sin ignored becomes sin judged. And a point where mercy rejected becomes mercy lost. Lot's wife stands as a solemn warning to all of us: don't look back with longing at the things God is calling you away from. May we all learn from Abraham's example to intercede for others, to stand for righteousness in a world that often scoffs at it, and to never forget the incredible power of prayer. Our prayers can change destinies. They can save lives. Because the story of Sodom and Gomorrah teaches us that even when judgment falls like fire, God's mercy still burns brighter. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through Scripture. If this story has moved you, please give this video a thumbs up. And consider subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the powerful stories of the Bible. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, may you walk in faith and understanding.